Alright guys, welcome back to another one. So randomly out of nowhere, out of thin air, Square Enix just announced a brand new Dissidia Final Fantasy. This is kind of hype, as it's been a little while since the last game, NT, which released back in 2018. Also, NT wasn't really received that well, especially after the big success of 012 Duodecim, commonly being held as one of the most unique fighting game systems and one of the better Final Fantasy spin-off titles. Unfortunately though, NT sort of flopped and certainly didn't meet to the same reception as 012 Duodecim. So I sort of shat bricks when I saw this announcement. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, this is sort of interesting. Maybe they took in all the feedback from NT, and they're going to attempt this again. They're going to give it another shot. So I jumped over to the teaser website. New Dissidia Final Fantasy? Okay. iOS and Android! It's a fucking mobile game! Didn't these guys shut down Dissidia Opera Omnia last year? Didn't they axe the other mobile Dissidia? What are we doing here again? Why don't you just keep Opera Omnia running? What is this? Why are you not making another console one? This to me is insane because Square Enix over the past few years have been going through this phase of axing all of their mobile game services. If you're curious to know how many services have been axed, here is a list that I compiled quite some time ago. It is an absolute fucking graveyard. And I can't help but feel a little bit sour about news like this, considering that it was only a few months back that Square Enix decided to cancel Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, which admittedly was a pretty quality looking video game considering it was a mobile title. Okay, I wasn't really so keen on the GPS aspects, but most of the other aspects of that game were looking very premium and quite surprising and honestly very impressive for a mobile phone game. And yeah, this game was being worked on for a long ass time too. Like, the early concepts of Missing Link began back in 2019, likely with full-scale development starting 2020, if not 2021. A hot minute before eventually in 2025 they decided to just pull the plug and bin it. But they saw no future for it, they didn't know how they were going to support it for an extended amount of time, so they cancelled it. We also know that Square Enix wanting to be smarter with what games they're throwing money into, so they decided Killer N was a good idea. Killer N? Anybody? Killer N? Square Enix also announced another Final Fantasy mobile game in November of last year, Final Fantasy XIV. It's getting its own mobile adaptation, which actually released in China in June of this year. That, however, is a project that I can see being very successful, given the popularity of 14 on PC and on console. So ultimately it does sort of make sense that Square Enix would eventually come around and make a mobile adaptation of that game. Also, it's been developed out of house by Tencent and not Square Enix. However, when you see an announcement like this, Dissidia Final Fantasy, what are you guys doing? How long will it be before this one gets axed? Now, the full reveal of the game is happening on October 14th, so in a couple of days' time, we're not too far away from that happening. The only information we have about this is, for one, it's on iOS and Android, but two, Team Boss Battle Arena. We've got no clue if this is going to be like a traditional Dissidia fighting game translated onto mobile phones, or if it will be more along the lines of Opera Omnia being turn-based. Other than that, we have some what looks like in-engine images of Tokyo, Japan. So is the setting of this Final Fantasy game taking place in Tokyo, Japan? What's interesting about these images on the teaser website though is there's these small little circles that you can find, and when clicked on, they'll show you a small image of something, teasing some of the characters and other random things like a Moogle claw machine. So it definitely looks like this Final Fantasy game is going to be taking place in Tokyo, Japan. We can also see some Final Fantasy character silhouettes at the bottom of the website as well. Characters like Cloud, obviously, Renoa maybe? Lightning looks like she's definitely there. Probably Warrior of Light, maybe Terra, and I'm pretty sure that right there is Prompto. Of course, we can expect all of the main characters from the various mainline Final Fantasy titles to be here. If I were to have to guess, Considering the subtitle here is Team Boss Battle Arena, I think it is going to be a turn-based mobile game rather than traditional Dissidia fighting type format. Opera Omnia proved that Dissidia can be more than just a fighting game, and Dissidia sort of more so means just bringing together all of those Final Fantasy characters into a title. So it might be that they're trying to do more of a high quality mobile turn-based Final Fantasy game akin to something like Ever Crisis. Who knows though, the real-time fighting format could still be here. It just does seem as if it's like PvE, just with the Team Boss Battle Arena quote there. In my opinion though, yeah, a little bit disappointing. Like, make a console version, man, what are you doing? I don't know, this sort of just gets me sad. Anytime Square Enix announce a new mobile game, you have to ask the question, how long is this going to be around for? Because without fail, unless it's going to be something as massive as 14, which I'm sure 14 Mobile is going to be around for some time, and it seems to be that Ever Crisis is being supported fairly well, though it wouldn't surprise me that if in the next, I don't know, 3 or so years that service will probably end. Though, given the hype surrounding Final Fantasy VII Remake and Part 3 still yet to come out, I don't know, it might be a little bit longer than that. But about 85% of any other Square Enix mobile title generally meets its end, and sometimes fairly quickly. And who knows, maybe it's the reception of Dissidia NT, where Square Enix thought, alright, we're not touching console, but we'll definitely do another mobile phone game. Let's make another mobile phone game, you know, even though we shut the other one down last year. Missing Link died so that Dissidia Mobile could exist? I don't know, let me know your thoughts and opinions about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to know. However guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Be sure to slippity slap that like button as it helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't already. A big thank you to my wonderful patrons and YouTube members. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again real soon.